Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us in this online event. We are live via Zoom, but we are aware that you are following us from Facebook and YouTube. So hello, everyone watching us, and thank you and welcome. My name is Majlinda Aliu. I am a Chevening alumni and member of Chevening Association of Kosovo. I will be your host and moderator for the panel for today. Allow me to thank my colleague Beton Kasapoli, who is joining us as well today, with whom we have set up this online event, an activity that makes us thankful and aware how valuable and prestigious Chevening Scholarship is, and being aware how many talented people want to be part of it and be able to live and study in the UK. So we decided to organize this online event to motivate people as well as maybe facilitate their process by giving some our examples, our experiences, and maybe that can inspire them to move forward with their application. So the deadline for submitting applications is approaching fast. And let me remind you that the date is 3rd of November. So as the first advice, I would recommend you not to leave it for the last minute to submit your applications. We are organizing this event to help encourage future leaders to apply. We will be doing this in the next hour or so, and by sharing our experiences, we also will answer your questions. So as we go on to present the speakers and hear from them, please do submit your questions in any of the 3 platforms that you are using, and we will address your question in due course. Tonight, we are honored to have with us the Deputy Ambassador in the British Embassy to Pristina, His Excellency, Mr. Jacob Webber, who will say a few words about Chevening Scholarship and UK's vision to keep this program of studies as one of the UK's foreign policy's priority. Other guest speakers are Chevening Fellows, some of them recent graduates, and some of them have already built a long career upon it. To share their experiences, Chevening alumni, we have invited Shkumbin Ahmetxhekaj, Chevening alumni from Kosovo. Joining us from Kosovo as well, we have Elvira Shukurova, but she is the Chevening alumni from Uzbekistan. Later, she will tell us more why she's joining us from Kosovo. And we have also another Chevener from Far East, from Mumbai, in India. We are pleased to have with us Tripti Chouhan, Chevening alumni from India. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in this panel. So I would like to start with you, Your Excellency, Mr. Webber. Chevening Scholarship is a very prestigious global education project. What would you say to those aspiring to get this scholarship?
Thanks, Majlinda. Well, first I'd say go for it. You really have nothing to lose in applying, and I think many people might think that they're, not quite what Chevening's looking for, but in my experience, having met Chevening scholars from Kosovo, from Algeria, from Pakistan, from a few other countries as well, there's not really one model of what a successful Chevening scholar looks like. We've specifically designed the program to accept and welcome diversity and to kind of challenge the image of what being a leader is about, and that's what Chevening is about for me. So first advice would be, just go for it. And it's great that we're holding this event today, because I hope people will get some great tips and good motivation to get their applications in before the 3rd of November. So look, for me, I won't take too much time, because really this is for people to get tips and advice on applying. Chevening has been the UK's kind of principal overseas scholarship fund for many years now. We've been holding it in Kosovo for 20 years. This will be the 20th year, from 6 scholars in 2001, 2002 to having 140 in total now. And thank you to everyone in the Chevening Alumni Network here in Kosovo for setting up this event, but also for building such a strong community of support. And that, for me, is one of the things that Chevening is really great at and excels at compared to some of the other international scholarship schemes, is you don't just get a master's degree at the end of it, you get a set of connections to people back home, to people all across the world. And it's fantastic today to have Chevening scholars, not just from Kosovo, but from other countries that have been through it and are part of that global network. Here in Kosovo, we've been quite successful at choosing potential future leaders in the past. So we have members of the current government that are Chevening alumni, members of previous governments as well, but also leaders in their fields outside of government. And that's another key element of what Chevening is about for me. We look for leaders. We don't look necessarily for political leaders. So people that will lead hospitals, people that will lead schools, people that will lead scientific endeavors, all of those kind of areas are open to application. And in my experience, I think some of the most interesting and exciting applications are the ones that are a little bit different and show ambition. The key thing really for me is that you, in applying, you demonstrate how you will use your experience through the Chevening program, either through the studies, but also building up the network, and bring it back to Kosovo and help use those skills to develop yourself and develop Kosovo as a leader. But I'll stop there because I don't want to take away time from the actual potential applicants, but do feel free to ask any questions as we go on.
Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time and sharing all these relevant information about Chevening Scholarship. And you gave a briefing, but a general idea that these scholarships are not meant for a specific group of people, but anyone who feels that they can lead in one certain area, then they should go for it. And this is the idea also of organizing this event, to make it more clear to those who hesitate and have many questions on their mind, whether this is a priority or that is not a priority. So it is good to that you mentioned that it is open to all those who want to lead any sectors. So you are more than welcome to join us for the entire event, unless you have other activities in your agenda. We would like to have you here, but it's entirely up to your agenda.
No, I'll stick around, don't worry.
Okay, thank you then. Thank you for being with us. Probably we will receive questions from people who are already joining us. I will continue with other panelists. So I would like to start with Shkumbin Ahmetxhekaj, if he has already joined us, who has graduated in the UK over the 10 past years. And as we know, and as it's already said, this program aims to find new leaders. So what are the leadership skills required for this scholarship, and how would you define leadership, Shkumbin?
Majlinda, Shkumbin just joined. Maybe you want to skip the queue and then come back to him. Maybe he will be more...
He is already here with us.
Yes, yeah.
Shkumbin, did you hear the question, or I can repeat it for you?
Can you please repeat?
Yes. So the idea behind Chevening program, that it aims to find new leaders. So what are the leadership skills required for this scholarship, and how would you define leadership, Shkumbin?
Well, actually, when I was myself a Chevening scholar and I heard the word leadership, I always thought that, well, leader should be something, a big thing, something that really maybe I'm not entitled, or the others may feel the same. But when it comes to the common sense, it is something that actually, when you get scholarship, it is like people are trying to invest in you, so you can repay that back on your community, on your societies, by bringing new ideas, new manners of living. I mean, new ideas of also for developing socially and economically. So this is the main thing when it comes to the leadership, because of course, not everybody that goes there thinks about, well, I'm going to be a leader here or there. But the common sense of it is that actually leadership means something that when you come back to your country, you contribute to the communities where you live, for just spreading some or bringing something new, at least just seeing how the other people have been living and how the things can change for good. I mean, of course, not everybody wants to take the burden upon himself, but when you're entitled to such scholarships, to such, let's say, it is quite an honor to be a Chevening scholar. So repaying that back, it will be a satisfaction for everyone. I mean, for myself as well, back in 2009, when I won the scholarship, I had a very good position in here when I was working at the news outlet. So when I went there and I met students, they asked me, why did you come here? I mean, because at the time I was editor-in-chief for the national TV station. But I mean, depends on what people have like ambitions in their life. And my ambition at the time was just to strengthen my knowledge, abilities, to see new experiences and try to bring them back here to my country and see how other people can benefit from it. So yeah, I would describe leadership in the words I just said.
And it's not just about academic or professional point of view, because the Chevening experience is, I would say, life-changing experience. So each one who has experienced it has somehow changed on their life perception and in many aspects. So we have here as well Cheveners from other countries, and it's really good to have them here. So we have Tripti Chouhan, Indian fellow. So Tripti, as we are saying, Chevening Scholarship is considered not just career advancement, but also life-changing experience. So how it was for you, the Chevening experience, and why it is to choose the university that you want to enroll in, and in comparison with the city you would like to study and live in the UK, because obviously UK has bigger cities, or have London, which is the capital city of all, and there are also good universities in other areas. So how important it is also to look from this point of view. Tripti?
Hi everyone. Yeah, hello.
Thank you
so much. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone who's organized the webinar for giving me this opportunity. It's indeed a great honor to speak to you and to the rest of the people attending the webinar. So let me directly get to the choice of the city and the choice of college. Now, as anyone who's applying to the UK to study, whether on a Chevening scholarship or not, they would have done a lot of research around the kind of college they're looking for from the perspective of how it would affect their careers. So they would have already done extensive research on the best colleges which offer the master's degree that they are looking for. However, there are various other factors that they should also consider. And this is something that I have noticed that applicants often miss. For instance, studying abroad is an all-encompassing experience. The experience is not only supposed to enrich your career, but also enrich your own personality in a manner that you do well in your life and your career. So for instance, we live in a connected world where, in 2020, employers look for skills such as critical thinking, skills such as cultural awareness, and the ability to work with people from different cultures. And these are very important skills that you gain when you study abroad. Now, when it comes to the choice of college, while almost every good college in UK would give you a diverse alumni, would give you a diverse mix of students, so it will enrich your cultural awareness. Not every college will offer you opportunities around your master's program. For instance, if your choice of college is in a city which is really far from London, but you're studying a program related to finance. Now, London is a finance capital of the world. It would make sense for you to structure your time in UK in such a manner that you're able to take advantage of both the course structure in whichever city and university that you're studying at, and also other opportunities in London. For instance, networking opportunities, networking dinners. If there are experts from your field in any other city, not only in London, feel free to contact them, feel free to take advantage of the fact that you're in the UK, so you can have a personal interaction with experts from your field wherever they are based. So I think that is one of the things that applicants should consider while choosing the city and the college. Another very important consideration which people miss is which city would suit your personality type. Now, I used to think this is not a very important thing. If the college that I want to study in is the best in its field and it's located in a remote area, I'd be happy there. I was surprised to find several Chevening scholars and several students who had adjustment issues, who had issues around, not having enough support systems in these cities, who struggled a little bit, especially when the clocks turn and it starts getting dark at 4:30 p.m. in the evenings. That's when it makes better sense for you to, connect more with other people, so as to ensure that the kind of a bit of negativity that can creep in during those winter months can be taken care of. So I believe it's important to take into account the degree that you're looking for, and also ensure that the city suits your personality type. And feel free to write to other Chevening scholars who've been to the different colleges that you're considering. Feel free to write to alumni, and feel free to reach out to the college authorities themselves. What I've seen is that, people are more than happy to help. And even if they directly do not know somebody, they're happy to connect you to people who can answer all your ancillary queries around adjustment issues in the UK. So I think that is very important.
Thank you very much, Tripti, for sharing your experience. Absolutely, it is very important as well to see who, to analyze it from a broader perspective, not just academic-wise. So we know that politics, economics, media, and security are some of the priorities, and many scholars apply for these fields of studies. But as the Deputy Ambassador said earlier, actually for Chevening Scholarship, what they look for is for leaders. And we have today as well Elvira Shukurova, a Chevening Fellow from Uzbekistan, who is actually a musician, and she did her master's on this field. Elvira, would you like to tell us how you get the scholarship and how you decided to study in Cardiff University and not elsewhere?
Thank you very much, Majlinda. Thank you very much for inviting me for this webinar. It's a great honor to speak to you all today. And yes, many people are asking me, how did I get scholarship for music and why Cardiff? So first of all, yes, it's unusual to get a scholarship for arts field when you see how many people, and it's the priority is usually set to journalism, finances, economics, and etc. But I'm a real life example of the fact that if you show the qualities that are required for Chevening Scholarship, you can get it. If you can show that your course is relevant to your country and you can make a difference thanks to this course, you can get the scholarship. Because Chevening is looking for real leaders, not for professionals in a specific field. And for example, in my case, I'm a musician. I've been playing piano since I was 6. So by the time I was applying for Chevening Scholarship, I've been playing it for 20 something years. And it was obvious that I will apply for masters in music, but it wasn't obvious why Chevening has to give me the scholarship. And I was able to show this in my essays that Uzbekistan needs culture development in music sphere, and how I can contribute if I study music, that I'm a music teacher, how can I contribute to my country, to Chevening community in general by studying there. So my connection was mostly music to education. Mm-hmm. So try to find and think about it. How can you contribute to your country? And talking about university choice, I fully agree with Tripti. Yes, it's super important to choose the university and to choose the city you're gonna live in, because this is your 1 year of your life. You have to understand this. This is 1 year of your life, and it's probably one of the best years you're gonna have. So I have a little presentation here. If you mind, can you see it? Yeah. All right. So first of all, university choice. How I started this. Can you see it? Yeah. Yeah. Great. So first of all, you have 3 university choices for Chevening Scholarship. The first one, I think usually people do, is the dream place, is the university you definitely want to go in, and it might be one of the top ranked universities. So don't be afraid, apply for it, go for it. It's my advice from my experience and from the experience of many other Chevening fellows. Number 2 is your realistic choice. Pretty much you will get there, hopefully, and it's more or less realistic for you. And your third choice is your safe choice. So no matter what, most likely you will get there, and so you have the options to choose. Because sometimes people put all 3 dream places, and they might have issues with that. And don't be afraid to apply for your dream university. Don't be, because I applied and I got accepted, and I was very happy with that. Okay. The next one is the course selection. For me, it was obvious: music, piano, but for some people it's not. So think about the relevant course, relevant to your career, relevant to your country. How can you contribute thanks to this course? The next one is check professors. Who is going to teach you? So when I was applying for my courses, I checked the professors, I checked who are they, and for me it's a bit easier because you can check the musicians, their performances, basically all the career is online. So make a research on that one as well. And reach out to the universities. I wrote to my universities asking for the schedule, because I was asking, will I have time to practice? How many assessments will I have for each module? Will I have a place to practice? What about the facilities? Because I cannot take piano with me to the UK. The little things, ask, and because they matter. At the end of the day, they will matter. And of course, extra opportunities as well. Some internships, maybe, for example, Cardiff University was providing for me free language courses. I started learning Spanish. Then a lot of internships was provided to me as well, like opportunities for internships. So think about this as well. And the next one is, of course, check the ranking of university. Are you happy with this? And just click on it. You can Google university. But when you're checking your rank of your university, don't forget that you have to choose your course, because some universities are really good in journalism. Some universities are very good in arts or finance. So please be sure that you're doing the right thing, not just overall ranking, because sometimes it's not the one you want to see. So that's all from me.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I think all of these are important tips and advices for those who wanting to apply or planning to apply for Chevening Scholarship, because as I said, there are plenty of uncertainties and questions that people have, and it is very important actually to do research for universities. In my case, let's say I was planning to do an international journalism as a major, but while I was doing, because I did my master's in financial journalism at City University of London, and while I was searching for their program, then I realized that they have this program of studies that I didn't know earlier, that they provided something like this, and actually it's one of 3 worldwide that they provide in the UK, and that's how I decided to do financial journalism instead of international journalism, which was something very useful for me afterwards, because I became specialized on very specific narrow subject, which can then serve better. And actually that was one of the things that also during the application process helped me, because I had more proofs that why this field of studies is more needed. And one of the reasons was because we need financial journalists, and we have a lack of financial journalists in the region. So that helps, and it is important to do research on that. So having said this, we are now receiving questions from people who are attending, who are following us. And one of the questions that we have is, what are different kind of Chevening activities or events happen during our stay in the UK? Maybe we have, each one of us have participated in few of them, I guess, but I would like to ask the Deputy Ambassador, maybe you would like to add anything on this, because it's organized by the Chevening Secretariat.
Sure, and I think Veton said he kind of held his hand up as well, so perhaps he can add a different flavor after me. So I think one thing that, and I guess we may have kind of alumni that have had different experiences because they have studied in different years, but one thing we've tried to do as the Foreign Office in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years is really improve the student experience for Chevening scholars. By which I don't mean the university experience, I mean the kind of bringing people together. So there's usually a big kind of opening event, either at Chevening House sometimes, or at the Foreign Office itself, or in different locations. This year, obviously, it's a little bit complicated due to the coronavirus situation, but who knows what it will be like by the time potential applicants get there next year. So there's quite a few different opportunities throughout the year for, and it will vary as well, depending on kind of what you're studying and where you are, and who's close to you, but quite a few different arranged, organized opportunities for the Chevening network to get together. And those are really great opportunities for you to meet and engage with and share experiences with scholars from other countries. So you'll naturally know the scholars from Kosovo quite well. You kind of meet before you go, and you come and see us at the embassy and, shake the ambassador's hands, get your certificates and those kind of things. But you also get to meet scholars from elsewhere in other countries. But perhaps Veton, you can share your experience.
Yes, thank you.
We were together, so maybe you can. We were in some of these activities together, so maybe you can share.
We were indeed, we studied the same year, and it was 3 years ago now that we came back. And academically, you don't have to stick only to what happens in your university and what your modules and lectures provide. I had the luck to study in the center of London, where a number of universities are nearby, and I have to be honest that I attended post-class events more in other universities than mine, because they were providing more interest, events that interest me than my university where I was studying. So that's one thing. So after class, plenty of interesting events, networking opportunities, talks. And then there's also extracurricular activities that you can be part of, be that with Chevening scholars, other students that you share with your modules in the universities. They don't have to be only your Chevening scholars. And then if I can share just shortly my personal experience, I soon after going to London, I became part of running clubs, and I trained for a London Marathon, and I ran London Marathon. So it is one of the biggest sporting events that happens in the UK. And there, in the process, you meet so many people, you create so many new contacts, and that's what UK can provide, and that what gives to you, and that what you receive, it's for life. It's not only the education, but the human connections that you that you have in place, then they can go on for life. I have my fellow Cheveners from other countries that we are still in touch. They are very successful in the countries where they operate. And during this, especially the first months of the pandemic, we've been in touch, asking each other how they've been spending the time during their quarantine, what's their quarantine like in their countries. So we've been there for one another also at this difficult time and during this year. So that's from my side.
And I can see many questions that we have received, and I would like to say to those who are joining us that there is the link at Chevening website where you have the frequent asked questions section, and it answers many of the questions that you have raised here. But anyways, I will ask some of them, and it's better maybe to hear from Chevening alumni, so they hear it in more concrete way. So one of the questions is, can I apply for Chevening Scholarship? And if I don't have yet the university degree? I think it's a question that they would find to frequent asked questions, because it's very it provides answers to these technical issues, and maybe Mr. Weber, do you like to answer this question, if they could apply for Chevening Scholarship if they don't yet have the undergraduate certificate received?
Sure. So I guess without knowing the specific kind of circumstance, my instinct would be no. So the fundamentals of the Chevening Scholarship program is that it's for master's studies, postgraduate master's studies. So the expectation would be that you have previously studied an undergraduate degree. There is also a requirement for, I think it's 2 years at the moment, 2 years work experience. But what that work experience looks like will be different in each individual case. You could work alongside studying. You could have had 2 years working before studying or after studying. So lots of different options. But at the very basic level, you would need an undergraduate degree to successfully get an application for a postgraduate master's.
Okay, another question that we have is, how are you individually contributing to Chevening community after your graduation? Shkumbin, do you like to share your experience, or I could share my experience as well?
Or maybe Majlinda, you're the best. Yeah, you're the best to give your experience, because you are very much engaged, also including this one. So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, Veton as well. But yes, when I came back from London, I mean, it was in 2017, and that was the time when Chevening Association of Kosovo decided to reactivate and do more about the Chevening community here in Kosovo, as well as regional cooperation. And we also wanted to be engaged to encourage other people to apply for Chevening Scholarship. And this activity that we are organizing today is one of those I wanted to do together, and it is very helpful actually to keep connected with other alumni, because there are alumni from different professions and profiles, and it sometimes is even helpful to only to talk to them about your experiences. And also when you come back, it's the cultural shock that you experience for coming back home, because like I said, 1 year experience in the UK, it's kind of life-changing, so you get used to that way of living. And of course, not all of them find themselves easily when they come back, so it is good to be connected with other Chevening scholars. So here in Kosovo, we've been doing quite a lot in the last 2 years, organizing different events and catching up with other Cheveners, and also doing activities that encourage other people to apply for Chevening Scholarship and make them understand how unique opportunity this is, and it is worth it to go for it. And I think each one of us do it in a way. We encourage people to apply because it's a very unique experience, and it helps you for the future. Tripti, do you have any experience when you came back home? How is the Chevening alumni network in India? Because we're talking about two different places where the number of Cheveners in India probably is higher than here.
Yeah, so the number of Cheveners.
Tripti?
Hi, I hope you can hear me. So the number of Cheveners in India is quite high, and we've had the scholarship running in India for many years now. And the number of Cheveners who are selected every year, even that has been increased since 2016, which was when I went for my master's. We have a very good alumni network, and there are several events which are organized by them in majority of the metro cities, specifically Delhi and Mumbai. So that gives an opportunity to the alumni to interact with each other. Other than that, the Chevening Secretariat itself puts in a lot of effort in organizing events and sending us newsletters so that alumni of various batches get to know each other. So I'm sure this is done in almost all the countries where you have one person who's, or at least a couple of people who are featured in the newsletter with information about what they're doing now and the year in which they graduated. So this allows the rest of the Chevening alumni who are in the same careers to reach out to them if they need any help or regarding any opportunities. So that give and take of information is very much there, and efforts are made not only by the Chevening alumni but also by the Chevening Secretariat in this regard in India. Thank you.
I can also add that, of course, Chevening community in your country, they will support you. And when you come back, they will support. And when other people will come back, you will support them. And it matters a lot. It matters a lot. You find new friends, and you have your network grows. And for example, last year before the pandemic, I was lucky and I went to Chevening conference in Moscow. So it was organized by the Chevening Secretariat. And this conference was about well-being. And we were talking about this. I was presenting about creativity, music education, and well-being. And I also met there a lot of Chevener fellows from other countries, from my year, from previous years. So when you come back, how we say Chevening scholar for a year, Chevener for life. So it never stops. Even here in Kosovo, I get great support from Chevening alumni Kosovo. So yes, Chevening community will support you, and you will contribute to the community a lot when you come back.
Well, here we are also planning, actually not planning, but we are in the implementation phase now about mentorship program. So the idea is to have mentors, MNTs, and the program is called Shapers of Tomorrow. So the idea is to somehow help the new graduates or the recent graduates to not find a way, but to help them in a process, either while during their studies in the UK or once they come back home. So hopefully it will help Chevening community to keep more connected, as well as making it more easier for the new graduates to find themselves either when they move to the UK for studies or when they come back home. We have received many other questions, and as I said, there are many questions that are more technical. Maybe Veton can help us with some of these questions. Veton, can you read for us some of the questions which are related to IELTS test, to applying for universities, and questions like that. And as I said, these questions you can also find at Chevening website, frequent asked questions section. Beton?
The question on the requirement to submit an IELTS score or TOEFL or any other language certificate. From this year, it's removed and it's not a requirement to submit your application. However, this doesn't mean that you don't need to provide the certification of your English proficiency. And this is determined by the university you're applying, and each university have their requirement depending on the field you're studying, depending on the difficulty and the usage of language you will have to be using, and that is reflected on the requirement. From the personal experience, I would recommend you at least start testing yourself and preparing much earlier, even without getting a response, like the first step response from Chevening that you've passed the written test or you've made it to the interview stage. This helps you to prepare and avoid any last minute tests that you will do, being nervous or not finding empty seats to take the exam. So my recommendation is start preparing early for the English language, despite that it's not a requirement to submit your application now, 3rd of November, to submit your application only for Chevening. The other question is related to the change of course of the studying, of what you've studied in your undergrad and what you're aiming to study in your postgrad. My personal experience, and I know from discussing this also with the embassy and experience of other alumni, there is a possibility to study a different field from what you've studied or graduated as an undergrad. This is especially allowed and recommended if you link your application to justifying that you are the right person to study that field at the right time to contribute when you come back to the country. Once you've linked all these dots that you can provide the testimony that your country needs this field, there's a deficiency, or maybe there's even a particular sector that you've identified and your company or your sector is clearly identifying that field that is lacking, and you can get this education from the UK and bring back that knowledge and the qualities so you can contribute to your community. That is seen as a positive, as a plus from the Chevening reviewers, but you have to be very specific and explaining why you have to get that education and to come back without going too deep on the general explanation on why my country needs this and that. You have to tie everything to yourself, and no matter that you have studied something else as an undergrad, you will be supported if you prove that you're the person that needs to get this education in the UK. I will leave it here. There are some other questions related to
that depends. I would like to add here, it depends also in universities, because some universities you have to send essays as well, and you have to send your diploma and all of that. So because the question here is, let's say if you have done your bachelor on physics and you want to do a master's in finance, would Chevening accept it? But I think it is also depending on universities that you apply and what are their requirements, and maybe Mr. Weber, the Deputy Ambassador, would like to add anything on this if you have any comment or so.
Yeah, two things. One, as a physics student myself, I would always be biased towards, physics students reaching out and doing different things. I'm now a diplomat. I'm not a physicist. But more seriously, I think both your advice, Majlinda, and Veton is absolutely right. So as far as Chevening goes, as long as you can make a good argument to why that change makes sense to you as an individual and to what you plan to do or would hope to do in the future, no problem at all. Particularly that kind of swap. The specific swap, I think, is physics to finance. But then you're absolutely right that you also need to be successful in an application to university. So as long as you meet the requirements of the university and you get successful in that application, then absolutely.
Okay.
There's another question, Majlinda, on the difference between applying for Chevening and directly to universities. Aisha asks if to talk more about the procedure to apply to a specific university and Chevening, so make like a comparison if someone will.
The question, are you referring to the question that do I have to, someone is asking, do I have to write separately to 3 universities and courses, or should I just generalize it? I mean, I think this question is related to structure of the essay. Does anyone want to respond to this? So the question is about when you're selecting the university, do you have
Yeah, I'd like to add that even, I mean, I don't know how the others know the process, how it goes, but even if you are a Chevening scholar, you have to select by yourself the university you want to go through. So, I mean, scholarship, of course, is provided by the British Council, from the British government. But in this case, if someone wants to go separately, I think they can just follow the same path. I mean, in our case, it's different because if you are a winner of the scholarship, of course, you have many other benefits from it. But when it comes to applying for university, if you're not part of the British Chevening Scholarship, then of course you just have to go through the other procedures as well. I mean, as much as I understood the question, it is, what's the difference? So the difference is that in this case, the Chevening Scholarship provides you more benefits because it pays the expenditures that you have there. But for the other technical part, you have to do it yourself. I mean, it's not the commission or someone that says, well, you have to go to this university. You have to do it yourself. You have to see which university fits to you the best. And yeah.
And about the structure of the essay, I think some people generalize it, some people write about 3 courses. It's again, you have to be persuasive, and it's easier if it's easier for you to be persuasive, like I'm choosing this university because, and this university because of do it like this. If you want to generalize it and it's easier for you, do it like that. It's all about your style, I believe.
Tripti, do you want to add anything to this question?
Yeah, so your response to this question in an essay will basically reflect as to how well you have researched on the universities and the courses that you're selecting. Now, if the 3 universities and the courses that you're selecting, they are very similar, there are hardly any differences in the specific courses that they're offering, then it may serve you well to generalize that part. However, it would benefit you if you're able to demonstrate why you want to study that specific course in that university. For instance, you have chosen University A and University B. It's the same course, but the specific one of the course subjects is something that you want to select in one university, either because that's not offered in the other one, or because the professor who's teaching it is someone you would really like to study from. So those specifics pertaining to your selection can be laid out in the answer. So it is entirely dependent on you. Ask yourself why you've selected these courses and answer the question accordingly. There is no one size fits all approach here. So I suggest that, you ask yourself as to how you want to answer that question.
Thank you very much. We have one more question. Again, it's more technical, but Aisha is asking, can you talk more about procedures of applying in universities, which is something we already, I think, we covered. But she's also asking whether university, if we can apply for university without having the IELTS or TOEFL results. From my experience, yes, you can apply, but you cannot get the unconditional letter without submitting the IELTS or test or TOEFL. But maybe you.
Majlinda, may I add something? I think
Sure.
yeah, we didn't cover here. I mean, when people apply, sometime they have to bear in mind that for this IELTS thing and stuff. So you all have the possibility of going. I don't know if it's yet, but it was in my case that you have this window open for going 1 month ahead of the studies. So you can have this preparatory language courses for 1 month in UK. And this was part of the Chevening Scholar. I don't know if it's yet or not, but it was a great help because despite the fact that probably you have a very high level or maybe you just have 6.5 or 7 in IELTS, when you go there, you just see the difference because it's an everyday course which can help you much more to strengthen your ability to speak and understand English.
I'm not quite sure if it's the case. It's still the case. Anyhow,
yes.
I know that yes, even if universities do ask for Chevening, for IELTS test or TOEFL test results, and of course you have to meet the scores that they have, the threshold to be able to be enrolled in the program, to receive the unconditional letter from university, which make you then eligible for Chevening Scholarship as well. Does anyone else want to add to this question? All right, then, yes.
I think I'd like to emphasize on the fact that your IELTS test scores are not only relevant for Chevening, but also for the colleges that you're looking for. So it's extremely important for you to see what are the thresholds for every college that you're applying to, and not only the 3 colleges you're applying to for the Chevening Scholarship. So I'm sure you would have had a list of colleges and the programs that you're applying to. Sometimes the college has a specific IELTS score which is generally required. The program specific requirements may be higher. So please make sure that your research with respect to IELTS covers not only what Chevening asks for, but also what your college and your program looks for. So that will determine, the time at which you must be writing the test and the scores that you must, secure. So please take that into account. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Tripti, and thank you, everyone. I think we are on the last part of this session, so I would like to give a short, maybe 1 or 2 minutes for each one of the panelists to send a message to those who want to apply for Chevening Scholarship. So maybe we can start with our Deputy Ambassador, Mr. Weber. Would you like to say a message to those applicants who haven't done yet, who haven't clicked the submit button for Chevening Scholarship?
Sure, and thanks for the opportunity. So a few thoughts, mostly inspired by the conversation. So one is on what we're looking for in Chevening Scholars, and I guess this would reflect how you kind of write your essays and write your kind of applications. We're not looking for current leaders. We're not looking for academic experts, although if you are one of those things, we'll certainly be be willing to hear your application. We're looking for potential and energy and enthusiasm. And I would add to that a level of personal preparation and thought. So you have sat down and thought about your own future, and you've decided why both the university, the course, and the Chevening Scholarship program fit into that. And I think the best applicants I've seen have had a really clear line of thought between what they've done so far. I studied X, Y, and Z. I worked in this organization, and now I think it's time for the next step in my career. The degree from X university in the UK and the network I will build up from Chevening will allow me to do X, Y, and Z in the future. So I think it's about potential, and it's about demonstrating how you've thought about your own potential and where you might go in the future. The second point is a little bit more technical and related to some of the questions, which is around essays and university choices. I have in the past seen applications that have clearly been from people that really want to go to a specific university, and they've selected different courses but at the same university. I would strongly encourage people to apply for similar courses it might be completely different universities, but your narrative about your own personal future is going to look better to me as someone reading your application if you have a strong message on the type of course you want to study. So it's not necessarily just about where you want to go. It's about, you know, what this specific course, whether it's in 3 different universities, would do for you. And I guess the final point is going back to what I said at the beginning. Look, you're not going to get a scholarship if you don't click submit on the application. So it's worth taking a chance. It's an application process. Some make it through, some don't make it through, but it's worth taking that opportunity. I know Chevening scholars that have done it on more than one occasion. They applied 1 year and learnt from that experience and got a couple of extra years work experience, and then applied again and had a really strong application and got through. So it's worth taking the shot, and just good luck to everyone. I hope to see you on the other end of an interview at some point in the next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weber. And that was one of the cases that I am one of those cases who didn't give up from the first failure. So I applied once and then I tried again because I really wanted to get this scholarship, and it was worth it. Every second that I spent to get the scholarship, because the experience itself was extraordinary, unique, and for me so far the best I have had until now.
And I'm so happy that I have also encouraged you a lot to do that, because sometimes you were shaking.
Thank you very much. Yes, you was one of those people who pushed me to apply for this scholarship, and I appreciate. So what is your message to those who are still reluctant or not deciding yet to apply for the Chevening Scholarship?
So, yeah, they have to look at us. Everyone is saying that it was a life-changing experience. Definitely it brings something new in your life, that it's I mean, when you come back, when you finish it, you just see yourself changed in a positive sense. And let me just say something that for those of you who are not from Kosovo but know something about the conflict here with Albanian and Serbs. So back in 2009 in London, I shared the flat with a Serb from Kosovo. So he was also a Chevening guy, and at the same, we were both Chevening scholars. So he texted me, wrote to me. We knew that we we're going to go together there, and so something that it was quite I mean, we couldn't imagine for living Serbs and Albanians together. So yeah, we did it. And I mean, it's not that I was, let's say, a nationalist or patriot or something like that, but when you just get around and you live with a Serb, then when you come back, you just see the reality quite different. And yeah, it is an opportunity for changing in many aspects. And yeah, please just submit your application and don't hesitate, because sometimes people think that, well, I'm not going to get even in the close list or something. but you never know. I mean, I can share a short, because now we're going toward the end. But when I started my studies in Pristina University back in 2001, it was the first time that a political science department was open. And then it was a chance for all the students to apply for a scholarship in Canada or something. So I was from a province, and all the other students mostly from Pristina, and they were politicians, journalists, and blah blah blah. So I never thought that I'm going to win that chance to go into Canada, but yes, I did. So please don't never give up, despite the fact that I was thinking, oh, I'm never going to make it. But yeah, I did it. The same was with a Chevening Scholar. So here we are today.
Good to hear this last part. I never knew. Thank you, Shkumbin. So Elvira, what is your message to those who want to apply for Chevening Scholarship?
First of all, do it, because as has been said here, you're not losing anything. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to click. And I know many people, and I think all of us were thinking, what if we don't get it? In the worst case, if you don't get it, you will explore so much. Like while you're preparing your application, you will learn about yourself so much. You will learn so much about the country, about various courses. You will reflect on your life, and you will see, what actually do I want to do in my life? Because you're applying for something, and you have to write so many essays. You have to think through about all of this. So even if you don't get it, you will have a plan of what you want to do in your life. And if this plan actually works, you will get the Chevening Scholarship, and it will change your life for a better way. So click submit, and it's going to change your life.
Tripti, thank you.
Thank you. So as far as my suggestions are concerned, I have two suggestions. One thing that I've noticed in a lot of prospective applicants who contact me is lack of good research. It's extremely important to do proper internet research, go through the entire Chevening website, go through all the blogs and other information that is there on the internet, and make sure that any opportunity you get to interact with Chevening scholars or alumni is used in a manner that is advantageous to you. So for instance, several questions that were asked today, the answers to these questions are available on the Chevening website. So please make sure that, you know, once you have answers to these questions, that's when you'll have those questions, you know, which only probably a Chevening alumni or a scholar can answer. So use these opportunities to your advantage. And this also demonstrate how well you would research with respect to your programs and the courses. So one thing I would suggest is, if there is lack of confidence on any account, it can be compensated by working very hard and researching and asking questions. So do that. That will help you gain more confidence, and that will help you in understanding yourself better as well. And any inhibitions that you have as to whether I'm a good fit or not, whether I should apply this year or next year, they can only be answered by working very hard. So that's one. Second suggestion that I have is, a lot of times applicants ask me as to, oh, you know, this is what I've done so far in my career, this is what I actually want to do, but I'm not sure whether I'll get the Chevening Scholarship. So for instance, the example around changing careers from physics to finance, I would suggest, don't be very scared. At least have an honest dialogue with yourself, and then decide what is it that you want to do. Chevening, you know, there are no hard and fast rules as to who constitutes an emerging leader. If you can demonstrate potential, and if you can clearly indicate as to why you want to change careers at this point, that will be taken into consideration. So do not be scared, do a lot of research, and feel free to reach out to alumni, you know, in your country and overseas. Go for information interviews, ping them on LinkedIn, social media. There are answers available that will help you allay your fears. So yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Tripti. And you just reminded me about my own experience when I applied for, like I said, I changed this financial journalism, and it was it was a challenge for me. It was a double challenge because first it was a completely new system, new language, a different language, and also the field of studies was very specific. But the help that you get from the university, the courses, and also experiences that they offer. Let's say in my case, we also had study visit in China and US in Shanghai and in New York. So it helped me get a better understanding about the field of studies that I did, and it really changed my mindset also in this field of journalism, as well as it prepared me to better understand reporting on financial issues. So each university has their own provide help and professional advices and everything that really help you to get, even if you change the subject of studies, they will help you to get away with it. And we have Veton here, who is the main person that organized this event, and we would like to hear from you. What is your message before we finish this session?
Thanks, Majlinda. Like this, preparing for this event is a process, and application for Chevening is a process. If you think there is a shortcut, I'm afraid that's not a scholarship for you. If it's difficult, I wouldn't say so. Every experience is personal, and once you've committed yourself, then every stage that you come to has its own engagement. And there was a question in the meantime coming to us in the chat. It says whether what are the tricks that to nail very good interview. Maybe at this stage it's early to think about the interview. However, if your application is a well thought application and it represents you and what you want to do, then the interview is the most natural process that you will go through, because you only repeat what you wrote in your initial application, and you just reinstate that and you confirm your intentions, and you will be very successful in the interview as well. So my message is just work for it, be part of the process, and after a year, you'll be the lucky chosen one to be going and starting your studies in the UK.
Well, thank you, Veton, and thank you, Deputy Ambassador Mr. Weber. Thank you, Tripti, for joining us from India. Thank you, Elvira. Thank you, Shkumbin. I hope that this session has helped at least a little those who are planning or willing to apply for Chevening Scholarship. So my message as a last word is, if you're looking for a change and upgrade in your career, then go for it. Don't waste your time. Fill up the form and submit your applications before the deadline, because it is worth it to have the Chevening experience. It's, as we said during this session, it's a life-changing. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us, for sharing all this information, very important information, tips for applicants for Chevening Scholarship, and good luck to everyone who is planning to apply for Chevening Scholarship. Thank you.